Welcome to the One Mindful Minute, your very oasis of daily well being in the busy world. You may already know you have the power to transform your world, but have you fully tapped into it? In this podcast, I'll share how to unlock the power to enhance your life through the art of living well. With insightful interviews and guided practices, we'll uncover the secrets to inner calm and wellness. It is time to tune in and transform.
Welcome back to this episode. I'm so excited to welcome Aelita Leto, the Feng Shui master. I have just discovered her just literally yesterday, and I have to grab her to come on to this podcast to share how she get into Feng Shui to begin with. Why don't we start with that, Aelita?
So very briefly, everything is kind of timely, and I would say nothing is for accident, but sometimes initiations and situations in life when we think the worst case scenario that brings us to the absolute bliss. So in 2004, when I kind of had my own challenges and I thought I did something applying the Feng Shui, being very passionate about this art, and I thought I did something wrong, I met the master who helped me to guide me and initiated me into this art in a more profound way. So I'm very grateful. So ever since, it's kind of pivoted my career, my hobby, my passion turned into my full-time practice. And I'm super, super grateful for that.
So can you share a little bit on the personal level, how Feng Shui have changed your life that so much that it actually convinces you to make this your career? That's a big deal.
It's a beautiful thing when we find ourselves, right? When we find in the world that you have a purpose, that your, not only your talents, your interests, your passions come in one, but it's also becomes value added to the others, human life or to the nature. In my perspective, Feng Shui is, as a practitioner, I speak the land. I speak the language of the land and how to connect the people or understanding how it kind of creates the abundance when we're noticing it. And
Yeah.
a while ago, I was talking to one of my apprentices, and I was on a way. I was thinking, what exactly am I doing? So it's like, how can I define what exactly I'm doing when we're doing the Feng Shui? And one of the kind of divine messages that came to me was, you speak the language of the land and the divine, of the heaven and earth when it comes together. And that was so perfect because truly, when I walk the space with any, clients or house, it's not about subjective way of kind of criticizing or looking what's bad, right? That's what maybe tendencies, what's wrong with my space, but is actually embracing and finding what works and make it that better. Or when there is some neglecting aspect, because nobody's perfect or nothing is perfect, allows us to improve the situation, improve the surroundings. So I don't know, maybe that was a short, longer answer than you maybe expected, but it's a way of living. It's a life force energy that we are embracing and we are breathing every single second, all the time.
Totally, totally. And this is one of the reasons why I love to have you on the podcast and sharing how incorporating Feng Shui into our life is actually another way of being or living mindfully, because we're not just living in our heads, right? We're not just living in the bodies. Everything is interconnected in some way because we are made up of energy, and so is our environment. just like you mentioned, you work with the land. You got the download, you got the divine download telling you this is what you need to be helping people with, is to help people connect with the lands and their surrounding and their environment in order to have a more mindful life and a more peaceful and harmony day to day.
We are nature. We are the nature. We're not creating the nature. We are blueprint of the micro and macrocosm in a continuous way. And the way we could connect is just really kind of settling in, like divine timing. Everybody's talking, what is a divine timing? You know, to be in the right place at the right time with the right people. That is a divine timing,
Totally.
right? Sometimes we have a capacity of the king or queen, but we don't have a kingdom. Or sometimes there's a kingdom, but the capacity to rule this kingdom sometimes not in a human hands, or it's not timely. So these type
Oh, I love that.
Yeah, this type of imperfections, that's, I think, the science and art of the Feng Shui allows us to be timely and allows us to also embrace what is, sometimes not everything is fortunate at the moment, but it doesn't mean that we don't learn from that moment. So how many times in past life we have made mistakes because by not knowing better, and we would have a wrong, maybe, innocent perception of something else that if you would know that now, you would embrace and say, that was the right timing. Learn from it. So I don't know, this is a little philosophical, of course, but just the awareness and mindfulness has its links to be staying present and kind of, surrender. And that's hard because we live in a kind of Western set of mindset, and to surrender to what or to who, then you have your big ego, and everybody has one, right? So that's a life lesson. I think that's a journey that we are experiencing, and the challenge is what we are embracing.
Yeah. So how do you help your clients shift from that into a more harmonious with your work? How do we live in harmony with nature?
It's a good question. It seems like a very simple question. And I think people who find me, or who have a path cross with my practice, or just my presence, or even having conversation, what pivots, I think, is the viewpoint. Because when I believe when I bring this subject about, it's not from subjective point of view. It comes from the holistic point of view, more like from the objective point of view with no judgment. And it's very rare that you can find a companion that you can actually open up to about your concerns, about your, willingness of things from and listen for the advice, not to be criticized. And this is what I think I do as a practitioner by opening up those kind of with the Feng Shui eyes, or with using the astrology. There's a holistic approach to bringing so many different modalities to make the assessment, either of the person's state of being, if they're balanced or not, or are they depleted or not, are they excited or not, and then bringing to the physical space, acknowledging they are as excited as I am when I see the birds are chirping, and the trees are healthy, and the rivers are clean, and there's a beautiful view. What are they focusing? Sometimes it becomes like with a simple layout, embracing the best view the properties or places offer. And so I think this is the pivoting the awareness is the key. And pivoting awareness based on a holistic and objective point of view that is confirmed or backed up with the data, with a Feng Shui, like taking a compass readings and correlating to the meanings of the certain directions, the meanings of the timeliness, there's so much intricate stuff comes to the function, like to classical feng shui, that to some extent it could be confusing for somebody who begins the art. Everybody have some sort of knowledge, but when you go deeper, it has the decoding association. It brings a story alive, and that's what the feng shui does. It brings the land speaks to you, the time speaks to you, and then how the human chi embraces that and manifests or utilizes. That's the key. So,
wow. Okay, that's really a lot. Now, for someone who is just getting started in feng shui, because I'm sure some listeners out there might be thinking, oh my gosh, like I think feng shui is like, like the way we creating flow inside the house where we actually live, physically. We don't, because a lot of time, like we don't spend time outside of the house, right? Unless it's summertime, we wait for the weather to be nice before we, go and start to do our gardening or whatever, right? And can you maybe enlighten some of, the beginner in feng shui a little bit of what's the difference between traditional feng shui and the non-traditional way, which is you can find on, if you just search online, you might be finding like how to place like plants in, in which part of the house it will help, shift the energy or bring in good lucks, because most of the stuff. And I think I watched the video. It was this month that you had talked about feng shui, and someone was asking you what to do with, number 4. Because number 4 in Chinese is death, right? So how do we change that? Because that seems like a bad luck, right? So I want to bring that to the attention of the beginner, of someone who's interested in just tapping into the power of feng shui.
So the shortest definition in a classical feng shui that I learned is feng shui is adaptation. Adaptation internally, externally,
Okay.
adaptation. Yeah. Because we live in a continuous, like the only constancy that is this life is the change. We're continuously changing. Our cells rejuvenate, there's the uncontrollable environment at all times. And what we try to do is like, how do I get to the core, to the balance? We are born to do that, right? People typically do seek for cure or for that magic pill. They sometimes just tell me what to do. Just where to put the plant, or where to put the water feature, or where to put that's not feng shui. That's like something, when you have let's say we correlate to your physical body. Let's say if I have an inflammation or somebody has an inflammation, we have to go for the root. Where does it start? And the inflammation could be something that is energetically based, like suppressed chi, like cancer, or any dis-ease in the body is a reflection of the energetical suppression or something that would not flow. When you come to the physical place, to your, let's say, immediate home environment, you are a reflection of your physical space. And the physical space is a reflection of you.
Wow. This is not exactly new concept. I mean, to me at least, right? And I'm sure some of us that are familiar with the energy, this is definitely have been taught by, people who are, I want to say like since the 70s at least, right? In the Western society, like Wayne Dyer, a lot of people know about Dr. Wayne Dyer's books and teachings, and he does talks about this too. Something quite similar. Like if you focus on whatever it is that you focus on, you're going to get more of that because that's where your energy is at. So just kind of like what you said of, your environment is the reflection of your inside. it just manifests itself to the outside. I know this probably like not my normal podcast, mindfulness, but it actually is a part of being mindful of your own thoughts, of your own energy, right? Like if only if we can, go ahead.
Yeah, there's a saying, imagination leads the mind and the mind creates chi. And chi allows 10,000 things to come to fruition. So like everything is energy. There's no good or bad, but we with the choices or with the sensations, we make it that good or bad. And sorry, that's my son called.
This is a part of life. Things do happen.
Adaptation. So when like everything is energy, and sometimes when, let's say, the very simple client would say, it's like, oh, I know this is bad. It's like, well, why this is bad? From my perspective, from objective perspective, Feng Shui, not everything is bad. So like the most important thing is to be observer of your own doing, not reacting on a situation when it comes at you. I think that is one of the key elements that I try to embody when I practice, when I do actually on my daily practice. And that shifts the pivots that you don't waste your chi, your life force energy on getting too emotional or too judgmental or too whatever, because that exhausts instantly. It's almost like, driving, accelerating unnecessary. And our society, I think the Western society has been pushed, to be like in this very fast forward notion all the time, to be under the pressure, like a pressure cook, right? It's just like rods of steam. Don't know other way how to just be observing the situation rather than reacting to it. Okay. And so that's pivots, the pivots instantly. Like today I have several clients, and yesterday I have like a lean of clients when I'm making assessment of the location, and people have this like, oh, did I do well? Is this a good house with a feng shui? It's like, come on. Of course it's good. Okay. If we can make it better. We don't have sometimes this ideal option to pick the ideal plot of land and put the ideal feng shui house. But when you already have a pre-existing place, you need to start embracing. And this is where the location is one thing. It's not about your interior, but how do you find your space? How do you approach? What is the neighborhood? Do you love it? How do you connect to your neighbors? What vibe does it give? What country you live? Does it resonate with your belief system? Does it resonate with your culture? There's so many other aspects, like intricate aspects, that, to make this ideal house ideal, it just comes from your heart, just opening of your heart. I think we had a little bit of conversation yesterday.
Oh my gosh. That's why I really want, I really want you to come on the show and share your knowledge, because it excites me, and I'm sure it will excite my audience as well. Because this is something that not that like we're not paying attention to our environment, but this is part of a daily life. This is mindfulness. This is the practicing of being present, is to be in the here and now and observe what's going on. And instead of reacting, we're responding, right, to whatever come at us. So, and it's like you said, like wherever you live, right? Are you actually in harmony with that space? Are you loving that space? Or are you always finding something negative about it? We talked about this yesterday too, right? Yeah. And you mentioned neighbors, right? So even if you don't live in a single home family residential area, you live in an apartment, you may never meet your next door neighbors. And and that may be creating some energies that's affecting your living there, your resident there, right? So same thing, whether a house or apartment or flat or condo or whatever it is. It's just the structure, right? And we still, the space that we lived in is still the space. That's what you're saying, right?
Well, I'm saying correct. And what we do, we bring. So if there's no people in the place, there's no feng shui. The only kind of the reflection or about the feng shui kind of experience comes from your, I said, six senses, comes from your five senses, like, like the touch, the smell, the walk, the how you, but truly there's no one else can determine how good or not so good is the certain place. Is based on your own kind of reference system, and that's based on what you experience. There will be people who are embracing, living somewhere in a desert. That's like there's the personal preferences in certain ways, right? But when we talk about just specifically of your own, let's say your house is just a structure. When you bring the heart to it, when you open the heart to it, that's when it becomes home. And what motivates you to cross the threshold, why you coming home, is the key. I know we kind of have this kind of short talk, but I would like to leave with at least one suggestion or one tip for anyone who can apply to have a good experience. And that is coming from the time we cross the threshold and we enter your main entrance. And I know in the West, there's a lot of people entering through the garage and they're not feeling like a guest in their own homes. But when you come home, and if you can leave something that makes you smile, just like that, just you enter the door and there's something you can smile at, that instantly opens your heavenly gate. That's instantly like in the Chinese medicine. When you have a smile, the divine light opens the heart. Embrace that.
I love
If you
that.
have a family of pictures of your kids and then they're, cute, and you leave it somewhere on the wall, like just at least one thing. So I hope everybody can find one thing, and it doesn't have to be something superficial based on a feng shui principles that is, based on your heart and intention.
Wow. I love that. Yeah, it's so simple. And yet we never, we overlooked this. We never thought, that it would be so simple, right? Especially for me who, I've been reading up on feng shui a lot, and it was for the first time that I actually hear from from talking to you yesterday about the land. The land energy is the traditional feng shui, and the environment and the nature that we got to work with has nothing to do with just the inside and what money tree we have to go, or the jade tree or whatever tree that is that we have to go get and put in the house. So and now you just gave a really really simple but amazing tip for us, is to make any place our home, to make us smile, to make us feel good. It can be something so simple, like a picture of a loved one. When you enter, when you enter your space and you just feel so like, yes, I'm home. This is it. You can relax. You can be, you can just be yourself and just be at home. This is home, like in your body, right? I love that.
It's
Thank you
like
so much, Aelita.
you're very welcome. But I know we are all, I mean, I'm in the Bay Area right now, and like a lot of people are living in, Silicon Valley. It's also tapping into the ancestral chi and ancestral energy, like relating to what was there before. And maybe we can set up the next time to talk about, why the Silicon Valley is successful. What really makes this part of the country, successful and that's the feng shui. It's a true feng shui of the land, how it embraces, how it cultivates, how it nourishes. And those who cross the Golden Gate Bridge, maybe on a daily basis, maybe one time you will take the compass out and you will realize the Golden Gate Bridge is like a compass needle between north and south, right about between
Oh
0
my
and 1.
God.
And the
Whoa, I
vortex,
got goosebumps.
this is the Silicon Valley in a sense, what can bring, or any house can connect to the Northeast, to the Sierras, to our ancestry, to the mountains of the mountains, all the way to the Tahoe and beyond. We can talk about the Mountain Shasta, that is it's a beginning of the Sacramento River that nourishes all the valley, brings the water down all the way to the south. That's the feeds the fields. That's the chi.
Wow.
And that's
Wow,
everything
wow,
that
wow.
stimulates and leads to bring the success also to the this generation and the future generations. But if we become neglecting the nature has to fight back and do its
I love this. Oh my gosh, I cannot wait to get you back and talk about why Silicon Valley is the gold mine for all the tech people, all the tech company that comes here, right? This is, oh, I'm excited and I'm loving this conversation. I would love to hear more of what you have to share. And I know you at your client's place right now and you're getting ready to go meet your clients. So
Yeah.
thank you so much for making the time to share your knowledge with us today. And we will definitely get back and make this happen again. Thank you, Aelita.
You're very welcome. So all the best, at least one thing, whatever your threshold makes you kind of laugh at heart. Maybe you can sometimes even leave a quote of a joke. It's something silly, something simple. That is good enough.
Yes, I love that. All right, well, now you're making me think about how I can close the show with a joke. I can't come up with any joke right now except thank you, and that's just not a joke.
All right, so next time, all the best.
Thank you so much.
Hope you've enjoyed this episode and inspired to take the next step in your wellness journey to building more resilient and effective days at home and at work. I want to invite you to get in touch with me to learn more about the customized wellness programs that could benefit your team, your organization, whether it be retreats, workshops, 21-day meditation challenge, you name it. Let us collaborate to supercharge your well-being today.